Welcome everybody to the Voodoo Garden. My name is Ray. I will be your host today, and I'm holding up a little mystery plant. And I do have quite a few mystery plants. I don't know what they are, and I don't know what they are until they grow up a little bit and I can identify them. Somebody sent me mystery seeds. I don't know what they are. I put them in a cup, and now I have a little mystery green thing going out of here. And I haven't quite identified it yet because it's just breaking the surface, but I think I will eventually. And if I don't, I'm going to take a picture of it and have you identify it, because who better to ask than my billions and billions of friends. But I wanted to show you this because somebody asked me a question for the weekend edition and I didn't get to it on the last weekend edition. The question was a good one, a very valid one. Ray, why don't you plant your seeds in large pots instead of little small cups? That way you don't have to transplant them. The reason for me is very simple. I don't plant them in big pots because I don't have enough big pots for everything I want to grow. I start them in the small cups. Then when I see the roots, I transplant them into a bigger container, then a bigger container. That way I can gauge how they grow, and I don't have to water as much. Because think about it, if you put them in here and you water the entire pot, you're wasting a lot of water and you're wasting a lot of food, and it's going to evaporate out. And if you don't water the whole pot, just water the center, the outside gets extremely dry. And in order to keep your bacteria, your fungi, all that funky stuff that grows in your soil, in order to keep it alive, you got to keep it moist. Dry is, ow, I'm sitting on my ankle, and that doesn't, oh, I'm too old to too old to sit like this. But anyway, in a nutshell, if I grow it in a big pot, I have to water the whole thing, and that's just a lot of water. And I'm on the second floor here. I have to carry these buckets of water up, and at my age, I don't want to do that. So for me, it's just simple convenience. I grow them in a small container, work up to the larger ones, and then if I don't really like the plant, I toss it away, and I don't have to deal with all of that soil, because that's a lot of soil to mix up. And considering all the plants that I go through, that is not my style of growing, but it can be done. It can be done, and one of the nice things about it is you don't get any kind of root bound. The roots will grow out perfectly the whole time. That is a huge benefit. That brings me on to part 2 over here. I wanted to show you this, and I want to bring it over to you because I don't want to, well, yeah, I'm going to bring it over to you. I want to show you something. This is one of my 2 date palms. Somebody sent me some seeds for a date palm, and I grew it. I want to just show you this because I'm about ready to transplant it out, and I took it bare root just to show you. This was grown in a larger pot, not in a smaller pot, and take a look at how the roots are. They didn't hit the edge of the pot. They grew out at a really, really nice shape, a V shape, and that is perfect. This is a perfect root structure for this plant. Nothing blocked it out. Nothing had the roots curl in and get all distorted and slow them down. This is a nice little tripod of roots. This is what happens when you plant in a larger container and let it go, or you transplant soon enough. This is a good, healthy plant. And by the way, bringing it out of the soil isn't going to hurt these things. These things are amazingly resilient. I have another one in soil, but I wanted to show you the roots to demonstrate what the benefits are of growing in a pot where the roots don't hit the sides. And by the way, these transplant amazingly well. If you ever have a dragon fruit growing, go ahead and take cuttings. They root so extremely well. Remember all of the roots that I showed on the last episode? On the very bottom of this, there was a ton of roots. I did a trench, laid it down in the trench, brought soil around, watered it, and now it's growing up and over, and it's going to snake over the edge. And this one is a little cutting. It's going to do the exact same, the opposite way. And I used the pot from the Christmas cactus. Yeah, so I put that to good use, put in some good soil, and I think it's going to do good. For dragon fruit, you don't need arid soil, sandy soil. I just use my regular mix. It's well drained, it's fertile, and the dragon fruit really seems to like it a lot. Do you remember this little guy? Well, actually, this little guy was around 7.5 feet tall. This is the moringa. Moringa, I don't know, the moringa something, and I took cuttings and I shoved them in the soil. Well, that was a big old honkin' fail. I think that the cuttings weren't quite old enough to root. I shoved 3 of them in there, and all 3 of them just died. They promptly just died. I pulled them up, examined them with a magnifying glass, and no roots whatsoever. They were rotting away. So that was a fail with the cuttings, but I really didn't care because I knew that this was going to put out new growth. Remember, this was just a stick. Take a look. It's got a new growth coming out here another one coming out here. And what's going to happen is now it has a really good root system, a really nice thick stalk. Remember I had to prop that one up? I was showing it was going back and forth and back and forth. Well, we now have a sturdy plant. So it's got a good foundation and it's going to grow extremely well. I have it underneath some bright light and it's going to do a lot better than it did before. This may look like a jumbled mess, but it really isn't. As leaves fall off my plants, or as I pull them off my plants, the old leaves, I lay them down in the soil and eventually they dry and they start rotting away. And when they dry up totally, I just take them and crunch them up and sprinkle them into the soil. I don't mix them in, I just throw them on top and they slowly add to the soil, which is actually quite good. But I wanted to show you something because, by the way, these are the flowers off of the Christmas cactus. And some miscellaneous leaves. I was sweeping up the cuttings and I found one cutting from the Christmas cactus on the floor, and so I just threw it in here with all the other leaves. I was about ready to chop up these leaves yesterday, and take a look at this. I'm going to see if I can get really, really close and show you something. This actually made my day. Right here. It has roots. Yes, I've never rooted one of these just from one leaf. Like I said, with my original Christmas cactus, it was about a 4-section piece. And look at that. Roots, yeah, and I didn't do anything. I just threw this clipping in here and it just laid like that with some leaves on top of it. So you can root these extremely easy. Some people have problems, and then people like me, we sweep up trash and we throw it in a pot and look. It roots. I have no idea. Nature is a really strange thing. Sometimes when we try and force something, it doesn't work. Sometimes when we least expect it, we get the fun stuff. So I'm going to just put this back in here and let it grow. It's growing in the pot with the coffee tree. So let's put this back in here, put a little bit of soil on it. There, a couple leaves on top of it. And eventually, I'm going to have a coffee tree. Oh, let me move you up and show you the coffee tree. This is one of my coffee trees. I haven't shown it in a while. This is the Robusta coffee tree. And I've been taking off the stems and leaves at the bottom to try and form a tree trunk. It's about maybe 2.5 feet tall. And it's doing extremely well. So now I'm going to have a coffee tree. And I'm going to have Christmas cactuses growing below it. That's going to be kind of cool. A nice combination. To the left of the Robusta coffee, we have the fig. A couple episodes back, I did a pruning of all of the leaves, the old leaves. Remember, they were looking kind of ratty, and I didn't know what was going on with them, and I didn't really care. I mentioned that, I don't care, and I snipped them off. Well, somebody didn't like that comment, I don't really care. They thought that, you know, Ray, you should be more responsible and tell people stuff and research it, and I was like, oh God, you're just giving me a headache. So I just removed his comment and went on with my life. It was just mean, you know. If you want to do something like that, that's fine, but don't tell me how to do my plants or how to do my programs. That's actually kind of rude. And this plant is doing fantastic. Nothing has come back. All of the leaves are growing extremely well. Look at that nice green color. It's a beauty. So not caring works for me. Take a look at this sad sack of a plant. Yep, this is the Christmas cactus, that big, beautiful thing that I did the butchering on. But you know what? I have some good news, folks. Let me put this tripod down. I want to show you the good news. Right here. New growth? Yes, we have new growth, and there are more than a few that have these little tiny pink buds coming out. No, those aren't flowers. Those are multiple stems. So I'm going to have one coming out here, one in the middle, one over to the left. I have them coming out all over the place. And as I said, it'll take a while for this plant to get itself established and to get its mind right. But once it does and the roots start going down and it starts adjusting, it's gonna go absolutely nuts. So we have success here. We have little tiny little pink things. Oh, I love seeing that. And I wanted to show you. I wanted you to be the first one to see this with me. It's doing extremely well. Yep, the Christmas cactus pruning was a success. And if you pruned yours, I'm hoping that you have the same success. Ah, this is the Buddha hand. Buddha hand is a, what is it, a citron? It's kind of like a lemon with no juice, just all pulp, and it's shaped like a hand. That's why they call it Buddha hand. And I planted this exactly 1 year ago today from seed. I think it was today. But anyway, I grew it from seed. It doesn't look so good, and the reason that it doesn't look so good, I wanted to bring this to your attention because you may be having the same problems. I used my pH meter, and I shoved it into the soil, and it showed the pH to be 8. And 8, if you know your pHs, that's no good. That's a whole lot of not good. That is on the alkaline side. And alkaline soil is not good for citrus plants. How it got alkaline, who knows, who cares? All I know is I need to take care of this pronto. And you may see this in your vegetable garden this year. That's why I wanted to bring this up. Take a look at the new growth. Does that look familiar to you? If you're growing pepper plants, sometimes you may see distorted leaves. And I've shown this on another plant before. Little distorted leaves kind of pinched on one side and a little bit yellow. And see, look at that. Yep, and it's looking a little bit yellow over here. What that is that is classic calcium deficiency. And on your tomatoes, it can cause blossom end rot. On your peppers, it can cause, distorting, yellowing. It's just not a good thing. And a lot of people think, hey, throw in a lot more calcium. No, that's not the problem. The problem is the pH is too high, and when the pH is high, it locks up all the calcium. You could have a ton of calcium. You could have pure calcium in there. It still is not going to get into your plant. You need to lower the pH to the acidic side, freeze up the calcium, makes it available to the plants. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a gallon of water. I'm going to throw about maybe a 1/4 cup of vinegar in it. And you can use just cold coffee if you want, but I'm going to do that because I want to drink the coffee today. I don't want to use it on my plants. And then you flush the plant. You flush the soil thoroughly with this. It'll drop the acidity way the heck down. And it's not too much of a permanent thing. You know, it's not like you're throwing something in there that's going to keep acidifying the soil. This is water-soluble vinegar. It's not going to last forever in your soil, and it will take care of that alkaline problem, though. It'll bring it back down, and then eventually this is going to go back to neutral. But for right now, I wanted to show you this because another thing, once you have these pinched looking, ugly, mentally challenged looking things here, yep, I snipped this off. I'm going to toss this away. Oh, it smells good though. It really does smell good. You know, you can actually chop these things up and put them in a container and put them in your living room or something like that, and you can get a great citrus smell. It's just wonderful. But I clipped that off. Now I'm going to adjust the acidity level, and then the new growth is going to come out from the crotch of where the leaves hit the stem. The new growth is going to be a lot healthier looking, and it's going to definitely help this plant. Here's a first for the Voodoo Garden. Yep. Well, not because it looks like crap, but because of the type of plant it is. A friend sent me Swedish ivy. Yes, he sent me some clippings of Swedish ivy in a plastic bag. And I haven't grown Swedish ivy in ages. A lot of you may have seen Swedish ivy in foliage plant stores like at Lowe's, Menards, in the garden section, and they're normally thought of as indoor plants, and you can grow them outdoors, by the way. If you have nice weather and it isn't going to freeze, you can grow these outside. They make great hanging baskets. They can even make a nice ground cover if you have an area that's going to be warm. Yep, these will grow perfectly for you. But I put the cuttings in here. What I did was I just took off the leaves all the way down the stem, kind of like tomato cuttings, and then slid them into the soil, gave it a good watering. And one thing I wanted to show you on this is so that you won't be scared when you take clippings. The first thing that's going to happen is your clipping is going to wilt and look like crap, and you're going to go, oh, wow, what did I do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong. Think about it. This thing does not have any roots right now. And one of the ways to help it adjust is to remove as many leaves as possible, because it has to support those without any roots. That's not easy to do. That's like you supporting your whole body without a mouth for a few days. Not going to do too well, is it? So what I do is I just pinch off the extra leaves. It still has a growing tip. It still has a growing tip, and that's good. Look at this one over here. This was a thicker stem. This was wilty too, but this one perked right back up. It only takes, I think, about 2 to 3 days. Look at this one. It was just like that one as well. Nice and perky. When you do cuttings and you put them into soil like this, keep it out of direct light for about, I'd say, the first 5 days. After that, you're going to notice this thing perk back up. That's because new root hairs are growing along the stem. Then you can toss it right back into the light, and boom, it's going to start growing again. This is going to be a nice, healthy potted plant, and it's going to stay in the Voodoo Garden. I'm not going to take it outside or anything because I don't want to get aphids. Swedish ivy are super susceptible to aphids and spider mites, and I really, really don't want to have to deal with that. So this is going to live its life out in the Voodoo Garden, courtesy of a viewer. Thank you so much for the cuttings. And it's going to get thicker and thicker. I'm going to transplant it, take more cuttings. This plant is going to be absolutely monstrous next year. Keep an eye on this thing. It's going to grow extremely well. So if you're going to do cuttings, that was just a really quick tip for you. Don't fear the wilt or anything like that. Put a whole bunch of them in there. Some of them may die. Hey, that's just life. Some of them die. Some of them are going to survive, and the ones that survive are the tough ones. Those are going to be a really nice, healthy, growing plant. With the Swedish ivy and other things like pothos and philodendrons, putting multiple clippings in a pot is going to make it look nice and full. This 12-inch pot is not ever going to be enough room for these two plants. These are not vines. These are called ice cream bean trees. Yes, these are going to be trees. The seeds were sent to me by a Zepp collector. And he's a kid that tries out new fruits all the time. He taste tests them, and sometimes he'll send us seeds. So he sent me seeds, and that was very generous of him. I planted them, and now I have 3 of these things growing. I put one into a pot all by itself, and it outgrew these things 10 to 1. These things are not going to do well growing 2 to a container. Don't know what I was thinking. I really wasn't thinking at all. When I looked at these, see the one on the right, nice and thick and very full. The one on the left, he's the one that's suffering a little bit, so that one has to go. I could take this out of the pot, separate them gently, but it's going to affect this one if I did that. So what I'm going to have to do, and I know this is not going to settle well with everybody, but I do what I have to do for my plants, and I can feel that this one has a really nice root system, but you know what? I don't need it in this pot. And see how the roots were going over that way? They were starting to go in with this one. Doing this did not hurt this plant. I know you think that it did. Trust me, it did not. I wouldn't have done this if I thought I was going to hurt my plant, would I? No, I wouldn't. These roots are still in good condition. I'm not teaching you how to do anything here. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. So don't take this as a teaching lesson. Hey, Ray, rip them out by the roots. I wouldn't ever recommend that, no. But you know what? It did extremely well. I'm going to shove this in water. This one's doing fine. A couple pieces of root came out. But if you saw the root system on that, you know that it's a really, really good root system. I'm going to give this one a drink, put it under the light. It's going to be just fine. Sometimes a little rough justice goes on in here in the Voodoo Garden, and that's just how it is. I had to rip that out. Now this one is going to do extremely nice. I probably tore 1 or 2 roots. It's going to grow more. It's going to be just fine. Ooh, root. Ice cream bean tree. This is going to be a fun one. Oh. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. I think I know what I'm doing. No, I'm kidding. I do know what I'm doing here. This plant is going to be just fine, and so is its little twin. I'll give it a nice home with some good soil and a lot of root space. It's going to be just fine. Anyway, everybody, next week I'm going to do a little bit of Q&A and answer a few more of your questions. Don't worry, when you're posting the questions, I do get around to them. Sometimes it just takes a little time, but I will get to your questions. So if you have any questions about your indoor plants, outdoor plants, anything at all, post them in the comment section below. And aside from that, I think I'm pretty much done. And next week, along with the Q&A, that's what it was, I'm going to take you for another short tour and show you a few more plants. I'm not going to show everything at once because there's just way too much to show in the Voodoo Garden. That's why I kind of break it up into episodes. It keeps you coming back. Okay, I got to get going, everybody. Thanks for joining me here in the Voodoo Garden. I really do appreciate it. This is Ray. I'm out of here.